All right. Hi. Hello, everyone. It's nice to be here tonight. Talk about something that's fun to me and I enjoy doing and I do a lot of. We're talking tonight about social media and doing family history on social media. And mainly we're going to be talking about Facebook. But I did want to start by talking about Twitter. Does anybody that's on here have a Twitter account? Okay, you're all muted, so I don't know. Raise your hand if you are on a Twitter account. You are, Ada. Ada, can you unmute, please?
I don't actively use it.
When you say you don't actively use it, do you use it ever?
Once in a blue moon, mainly I just follow people. I post more on Instagram.
Sure.
And Facebook.
So you never use Twitter for genealogy?
No.
And Elaine, I saw that you raised your hand. Do you want to tell us about your Twitter experiences?
Oh, I'm kind of like Sister Hauser. I don't use it a ton, but Mike is obsessed with Twitter. So my husband loves it. Yeah. So he's better at that than I am.
All right. So I have tonight I wanted to talk about Twitter just briefly. Yes. Okay, so I just put a little bit of a blurb about Twitter on here. And you of course have to use when you make a text, you have to put a hashtag on it. And that kind of gives you a way of identifying the text. And now the only reason I'm mentioning this, I don't use Twitter, but I have set up a Twitter account. It was a long time ago, so I don't use it. But the reason I set up my account several years ago was because you can follow along on certain websites or meetings is really what it's good for. And so I found that you can follow along on who do you think you are, and that the participants sometimes Twitter who as they're being told about their family history, and even some of the hosts also Twitter during that. So that would give you a different idea or a different experience by watching Who Do You Think You Are? Do any of you watch Who Do You Think You Are?
I do.
Okay, and so have you ever thought about twittering during that?
No.
Okay,
No.
so you might want to consider doing that. It might be fun, and report back to us and let us know how you're doing. You can also follow along on some of the conferences at Roots Tech. I've never done that, but I think that would be awesome to follow along live time like that in a Twitter and know what people are generally saying. And so it also says that there are certain genealogy groups who get together on Twitter, and I guess what they do is do round robins, because you're limited to the number of characters that you can Twitter at a time. And so I don't know, had any of you heard about this, the Ancestry Hour? Nobody heard of that? But you might want to think about that, think about doing that sometime. They have a Gen Chat that takes place on the second and fourth Fridays of every month. So that might be fun for someone to go and look at that, especially if you have Twitter, and just report back to us and see how you did and what you thought of it. All right, so are there any questions in general about Twitter? Because I'm not sure I could answer any, but I think it might be fun to explore that if you have time. All right, so what mainly I'd like to talk about is Facebook. And the first thing I want to talk about is overcoming your fear of Facebook. So there are probably people that are on this little meeting that don't have Facebook. Is there any of you who do not have Facebook except the obvious person? Okay, let me put it this way: if you don't have Facebook except for John, say no. Okay, so you all have Facebook. Now, I want to make sure that you feel comfortable. Everybody feels comfortable, including John when he decides to set up his account, about Facebook, because you can control your privacy settings. I had two sons. I have three sons, but two of them were in the military, and both were told not to set up a Facebook account. And Harlow did it anyway, but Drew set up his Facebook account and called himself Drew Jorgelbaum. And so he didn't call himself by his own name. And then that way we could still exchange messages and stuff like that. So if you don't want to put your real name, you can set up an account with a false name, Now, if you're doing this because you want to explore genealogy on Facebook, then unless you have some specific reason, like maybe you are a mass murderer and don't want anybody to find you or something like that, then you'd want to really put your name. So, but in any case, even if you put your name, you can see my screen, right, where it says set privacy for friends, not for friends of friends or for everyone. So let's say that you have a fear of Facebook but you decide to do it anyway, and you only want to talk to, let's say, Shirley. So like Shirley, then you could just accept a friend request from Shirley, and that's the only person that you would ever get messages or get a message from on your Facebook account. And you could send each other pictures and little messages and stuff like that. I really, really like messaging on Facebook. It's real time. It's I'm on my computer most of the time, not on my phone. And so I can type a lot faster than my thumb can go. And it's just much easier to type a message and hit enter and get an immediate response, really, than to send a text or something like that, because I never know if somebody gets my text or not. Sometimes they go blowing in the wind. I don't know. So you can set your privacy settings and just, keep yourself away from the public, really. And then you're only on you're on your own, and you only have to do, the things that you exactly want to do. So you also don't have to accept a lot of friends, as I said. You will need an email address to join. So be sure that when you do, you don't post any contact information or personal details on your profile. Some people do. I have my telephone number and email address, and I may have my address even, I don't know, because I don't care. And I want people to contact me. It's really important to me that if somebody sees my name someplace and wants to contact me about the genealogy that I'm posting, that they are able to contact me. So please think about that if you don't have a Facebook account, because I think it would benefit you. All right, so what genealogy groups will you find on Facebook? In other words, besides talking to the mass murderer that lives around the corner, who else are you going to be looking for or talking to on Facebook? Well, the first thing I wanted to talk about is genealogical and historical groups on Facebook. This lady, that link right there is a link to, I think she has like 400 pages if you wanted to download the PDF of various Facebook pages. And I'm going to see if I can go there. She just has listed, and you can see it's 436 pages of various Facebook sites of people that have set these up. Now, some of them, this list starts with states. So if you are looking for a particular location, this might be a good place for you to go. Where do you do genealogy mostly, Shirley?
I don't do it on social media at all.
I know, but I mean,
Just
what
family
state?
search.
No,
What
no.
state? Oh, I'm sorry. What state?
Huh?
Southern states, mostly, I guess.
Can you name one?
Yeah. Oh, I'm from New Mexico.
Oh,
So
New Mexico. Okay, let's go down here. So there's New Mexico, and it's clickable. Can you see that? Did it click?
yes.
Okay. So there's New Mexico. And let's, for example, just say that you were interested in the Albuquerque Genealogical Society. So you can go to their Facebook page just by clicking that. And you can find all kinds of information that if you were working in Albuquerque. And you can do that for any group. So that is by state. And then they have geographical locations for the rest of the world. If you were doing genealogy in Angola. And so here you are, a bunch of websites for that area of the world. Now, I don't do a lot of genealogy outside the United States, but there must be some of you who do. and we might be able to look at this and see, you know, what you could find. Let's see. All right, then the third group they have here. I can find it.
Didn't-
Non-geographical categories. So she even has like adoptions, bloggers, buy, sell. You're not going to be doing that, but you know that there's always a time and a place for doing buy, sell, because lots of times, or there are times when people will sell historic documents or even just family books on eBay or someplace else. And so you might be able to find something on eBay or someplace else that would be interesting to you. There are also fraternal organizations. Anyway, you can see all these. And these are really, this is really a great site to help you find a specific location for your Facebook.
Karen, would you be so kind when you get finished with this, scroll back up to the top so I get the title of this page? This whole thing, this lady, genealogical and historical.
You want me to show you the link?
If you could just even send it to me, I'd be happy, girl.
Okay, sure, I can do that.
Thanks.
All right. Now, are we back to my PDF?
Yes.
Okay, good, thank you. So here are some how-to groups that you might find interesting. And I just listed a few that I particularly use and that might be helpful to you. So there's one called the Genealogy Squad. Let's go look at that. And there are 3 people that are the managers of this Genealogy Squad. Okay, so now you can see that these people are the monitors or the administrators, if you want to, of the site, and they're very famous people, but probably you'll recognize Cindy Engel. She's right there in the middle. That's Cindy Engel, and she's on this list. So if you were interested in some topic, or if you
Karen?
wanted, yeah,
I see she's titled Cindy's List. Is that Cindy
No,
of Cindy's
this-
List?
yes, it is.
Well, I thought she was like a Betty Crocker, you know, just or Juan Valdez that didn't really exist. Cool.
No, she's a real person, and she works every day at fixing all this stuff and linking. And this is a wonderful site, the Genealogy Squad. So, and it's a Facebook page. So you have these 2 guys called the Genealogy Guys, and you have Cindy and then somebody else. And I don't guess I've ever heard of the other 2 people, but I certainly know who Cindy Engel is. And I have personally written in on this site. Let's see if I can go back to it. There we go. I have personally written into this, and people ask all kinds of questions. So you go down here and, oh, it's really interesting. So this lists some of the people that you might know that are in this group. Let's see. I know that girl personally. I know this person. I know that person. And let's say, see that this person, her name is Sarah Bryant. She lives in Louisville. And for some reason, if I were going to be asking a question about Louisville, I might just want to ask her instead of going to the Genealogy Squad, since she lives there. And that reminds me that, but you don't have to do that. So here we are on this site, and those are the administrators. Let's see. And you can see how many members there are. There's 50,000 people on this list. Somebody ought to know something about what you want to talk about. So, and they have their rules, just be nice. And so here today, she's talking about how many people are on this list. And specifically, then other people are going to take over and start asking questions. So here's the first question that just happened to come up. I watched a seminar and the lady recommended scanning photos using your phone, not a scanner, etc. So now she's asking for people to comment on this. And there are 32 comments already. But some of the people that ask questions on here also have very specific interests, and you can do that too. I was asking a while back about a specific person, and could someone help me find her death record? And I had looked extensively hours and hours for her death record, and I could not find it. And finally, I posted on the genealogy squad, and 2 or 3 people gave me 2 or 3 hints, and finally I found her exact death location and where she was buried, and neither one of them were where I thought. So it was great. So if you need some real intense help, this is a great place to ask, and they cover a wide variety of issues and just really almost anything you would want to ask. Does anybody know who Judy Russell is? Judy Russell also has a blog, and she's called The Legal Genealogist, and she is so good and very well known and speaks all across the world about genealogical topics, etc. And so one time I was asking about a military record question, and she piped in and told me the answer. So I was really impressed that she spent her time, this famous genealogist spends her time on this Facebook page and is willing to help people to do that. So you might consider that. So that's one place on the internet. Now, going back, I know that several of you have Roots Magic. And do any of you who have Roots Magic, do you ever go to this site?
No. Didn't know it existed.
I'm so sorry, Mom, what's Roots Magic?
Roots Magic is a genealogy program for your laptop. I don't use it. I use Ancestral Quest, but I would really highly recommend Roots Magic. And I know that Jim, you use it, and Shirley,
Yeah.
you use it. Shirley, do you use it too?
Well, I have it on my computer. I don't use it very much.
And where do you store your genealogical information?
I just use Family Search mostly. I
Oh,
I
okay. No,
don't
there's
do
no
that.
problem with that. There's no
actually
problem
don't
with
do that much research.
That's okay. There's no problem with doing that. I find having a desktop program makes everything so much easier, but you don't have to. You can certainly use Family Search. So here are people.
Hey, I'm
like
still
us.
using Path.
Well,
I still use Path on my computer because I like the way it prints the sheets out.
well, if you like Path, I would really suggest that you go to the location on the internet called ancestralquest.com. The man who wrote Path and was purchased by the church also wrote Ancestral Quest, and the sheets are very similar. The layout is similar. You will not have a very much of a transition, thank you, to that. Now you'll have to buy it, but it syncs to Family Search.
Well,
And you just-
years ago, I owned an Ancestral Quest, and when the church came out with Path, I thought, well, they look exactly the same.
Well, that's the reason, the same guy. So I don't know how much Ancestral Quest costs, maybe around $30 or something like that. But if you do that kind of genealogy where you have a lot of stuff that you want to work on privately and not on Family Search, or you also have a lot of living people that you work with, which I do, and I use Ancestral Quest for both of those things. But you can also use Roots Magic. So I know you people that are on here, you like Roots Magic, and I understand why. And so here are some questions. You'll see people asking questions about Roots Magic and how to do certain things and how to get things to work for them the way they want to work. And if you have an issue with your Roots Magic, you can go here and post it, and I'm sure that someone would help you. Let's see how many people are on this list, but it will tell us.
24,000.
There you go. So, oh yeah, thank you. So it says it's a private group. So there's 24,000 people on this group. Surely someone has had that problem that you're having and can help you with that. So this is a really great place. Now, by the way, Ancestral Quest also has one. And as I said, you can download Ancestral Quest on the internet at ancestralquest.com. There's Ancestral Quest, Roots Magic, and Legacy are 3 programs that all sync with Family Search. Now, Ancestry.com will sync to an extent with Family Search, but if you have the data on an Ancestry, it will sync over to Family Search. But if you don't have that person listed, the sources, etc., and information won't sync over to Family Search. So I really recommend getting a family history program for your laptop or your desktop. And I would certainly want you to get one of those three: Ruth Magic, Legacy, or Ancestral Quest. Okay, so there's that. Let's go back. All right, now, how many of you have explored your DNA? No one?
How many?
Oh,
of
I
what?
have.
Okay, so I find it very
Oh, I have.
complex. And I'm trying to find a child of mine who will do it. But because it's very complex. But so here's something, there are many, by the way, DNA groups on Facebook. Here's one I pulled up. DNA for genealogy. Now, I'm not a member of this group, but look how many people there are in it. There's almost 7 million people. I mean, 7,000 people. Is that 7 million or 7,000?
7,000.
Okay, that's what I thought. 7,000 people on this group. So surely you could get some help on this group. Now, it's not going to show me any posts on this because I'm not a member of it and it's a private group. But you can see that there's a lot of people on it, and it might be helpful to you if you're starting to do your DNA and want to work on that. Jim, who do you ask for help when you do your DNA?
Since I have, it was a few years ago, I just went through the administrator for my name.
Oh, a
And
surname page.
I did not do a Facebook search or anything. I just used the administrator for the DNA test.
Okay. All right. Well, if you need any help, there's many DNA, as I said, pages. So don't hesitate to look at them. There's not going to be any harm in going and looking and seeing what they have to say. All right. So there are also groups for genealogy by location. Now, I showed you that document that showed you all the locations that they were aware of in the United States. Here's one that I like to use, and it's called Growing Up in Greensburg in Greene County. And I use this every day. And because that is a major focus of my genealogy. So let's go there and just see what's happening today. And I know most of these people. So there's my friend Bill, there's Ramona, there's Steve, that's my cousin, Squeezer. Yeah, really. They're all cousins anyway, but he is.
Out of curiosity, is that his name or nickname?
He has changed his name legally to Squeezer.
Okay.
And I have heard from his own mouth 2 different ways he received that name. So I don't know.
That brings up a question I have.
Okay.
If a person legally changes their name and you find records before they changed it and you're not sure it's the same person, is there some way to link them together?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean. If you mean you found a source, let's say on Family Search, Squeezer's name is something like Dalton. Dalton, what's his last name? McKinney, I think. Is it McKinney? Squeezer Coomer. Squeezer, his last name, I think, is Coomer. And so if you found his name listed Dalton in the 1950 census, well, you would want to make sure if you're in Family Search that you do link him to his nickname. Yes, you want to link. You want to link all people who are the same person together, no matter what their name is.
What you would, in Family Search, you would want to use the additional information, alternate information.
Right.
Great, I forget what it's called, and add that additional name, and then
Because
it'll,
if people know him by his new name, they may be finding his original name and not knowing it's the same person.
Well, you can add both names. I mean, you
Yeah.
can add Squeezer. You could put Squeezer as a nickname or an AKA.
My grandfather, he never legally changed his name, but he changed it from Leon Hubert to Leo Herbert. And every record shows his name as Leo Herbert Hill, but his birth name was Leon Hubert. So in all
Well-
the notes, I explained that in all the notes.
Well, you have to do that, of course, explain it. But a rose by any other name smells as sweet. So it doesn't matter what you call somebody. I mean, you found records with people's name so garbled that the reason you knew it is because you knew their parents or maybe their spouse or their children. And that's the only reason you knew who they were, or even where they lived. You knew that that person lived there and their name was garbled. So it doesn't matter what the record actually says. You want to notate that.
Yeah.
And but record it as the same person. So you certainly would not want to add a person, an extra person. That would not be a good thing. So did that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm sorry I got you sidetracked.
There's no problem. Okay, so here we go. There's growing up in Greensburg. And looky there, first thing, Terry Bagby, my cousin, I do a Bagby line. I work on this line and I happen to work on his line. And that is his father, Miriam Gum. And there he is, a picture of Miriam Gum. So what I can do is take that picture and put it on Family Search. Does everybody know how to do that?
Yeah.
Does anybody not know how to do that?
Copy and paste, right?
Okay, so
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
just go through it just briefly. You click on it and there it brings up his original post, and then you right click on it. And then you can either save the image and that will save it to your hard drive,
Mhm.
or you could copy the image. Now, if you copy it, you won't be able to paste it into Family Search. Family Search, you'll have to save it to your
Yes.
hard drive.
Hard drive.
But I'm sorry,
I was just saying hard drive.
but if you save it, you can save it to your hard drive. And there we go. And I think I already saved him. There he is right there. It says, do you want to replace it? Sure, I don't care. So there he is. And then I would go over to Family Search and put that in memories and put him in there. So that is a great way to do this. Now, one of the things that I do a lot is work on descendant lines, because I have found that on most of my lines, I can get them pretty far back, but I have blocks on most of them. And sometimes they go overseas, they cross the river, and I don't know, I'm not as interested. Just, it's my personal thing. I'm just not as interested. But I tell you that if you start working on descendant lines, you will really enjoy it. I have. As you start working on descendant lines, you will find that there's a lot of families that need their temple work done, and you are qualified to do that temple work. You don't have to be a direct line ancestor or descendant of these people. You can do anything lateral. So when I say lateral, I mean, so if you have a great-great-grandfather and his sister is there, you can do her temple work, you can do her husband's temple work, and all their descendants. So you will find that if one of your goals is to do a lot of more temple work, to find more names for the temple, that if you start working on descendant lines, that you will have a lot of success and be able to do this. Also, as you do your genealogy, you may find, especially if some of you or many of you are come from families where there's a lot of members, or members who were pioneers, for example. So my husband's lines are basically, he thinks, all done. But what you can do is start working on, go to your great-grandfather and start working on your great-grandfather and looking to see who his siblings were and find pictures of his siblings, and then start going down and go to his children and find pictures of them and things about their lives, because we need to do that temple work. Everyone needs their temple work done, of course, and you as a member of the church are certainly given that responsibility to seek out those people who need their temple work done. But you're also responsible to get to know these people. And that is a very important part of doing this genealogy, is knowing these people. Who are they? What did they do? Where did they live? How did they live? Who did they marry? And also their children. So as you're doing that, that's how some of these areas become interesting. So this guy is very interesting to me because he's like my fourth cousin, and I was able to put his picture on Family Search, and if the time was correct, I don't remember if I've done his work or not, but if I look on there and the time is correct, in other words, if he was born over 120 years ago, then I can do his work too. So it's very interesting to do all that. And as you continue to do that, you'll find that these things pique your interest. Now, let me ask you a question. So if you have a great-great-grandfather that you are interested in, and his temple work's all done, but you don't have a picture of him, that's just your great-great-grandfather, so it's a ways back. How are you going to find that picture? What are you going to do to find a picture of your great-great-grandfather?
Are we unmuted?
Mhm.
I got one off of a Facebook page. There was a distant cousin down in Georgia that happened to have a picture of my great-great-grandpa Allen, who had been a Civil War veteran.
And was it like thrilling to see that
Oh
picture?
gosh, yes, because I had one of Granny Allen. You know, that one time you asked me, you mean that pathetic lady that that's blind sitting on the porch? Remember that one, Karen? Well, it's her husband.
I said that.
Yes, you did, honey. It's a good thing we're good friends. But I wasn't offended. But seriously, she did look pretty frail there. But no,
Mhm.
I just happened to ask on a Facebook page for Yancey County, North Carolina, and I asked if anyone had a picture of this
You're
man.
going into the accent.
If they had a picture of Adnorm Allen from, who'd been in the Civil War. And this lady down in Georgia says, I'm one of his descendants, and she posted it and said, here's a picture of him. And I could see from the resemblance that he was an Allen.
Yeah.
So,
So those things become very stimulating and encouraging, and they give you a lot of enthusiasm to be able to do that. It's so much fun to find these pictures. So as we go on down, and so here, this guy is telling a story about this guy. His name was Marion Gum, and he was obviously a really wonderful person. And so this lady tells this story. My daddy was a tenement farmer, and my mother worked at Union Underwear. I never thought I could go to college. Mr. Gum came and got me out of Mrs. Boyd's class one day. He took me to the financial office at Campbellsville College, and when we left, I was enrolled. So did that make a difference in her life, in her family tree, in her family? Of course it did. And what a great inspiring story of this guy right here. Really wonderful. So you'll find stuff like that on here. And there is another, this man, Terry Bagby. He's a cousin of mine. And there is, I think that is it's his wife's parents, Ezra Gum. And the little girl is Matilda. Isn't that a great picture? Wouldn't you love to have that picture if you didn't have a picture of him?
I'd like to have that chair. I remember those chairs.
Okay, well, if you were descended from him, you might find somebody who had one and would give it to you. So there you go. So there are other people that'll make comments, and there he is again. He posted another one, and this little kiddo is crying. And it's just so much fun to do it. Let me see if I can find one. Here's the Greene County Library has posted this lovely, wonderful story about that. Okay, it's only wonderful because it's interesting, but this guy killed his wife. And so it was a very long process for the court dates and there were other people in the court at the same time who was being tried because they killed their spouse. And so this is a very interesting story. So what if you were descended from this couple where your great-great-great-grandfather killed your great-great-great-grandmother? How interesting would that be to find this all written up for you and have it? Yeah.
I like to bring up something. People look, those that aren't familiar with Facebook, to the right of the plus signs, that little circle with a jagged line in it. I have times communicated with cousins that I've not seen in person or met in person,
You
that
mean up here?
sometimes it's better to share family information that you don't necessarily want everybody else to read.
Oh, sure. Uh-huh.
And
Well,
and that you're able to share with them so that,
Well,
it's
right.
stuff that you want family to know about the family history, but you don't want everybody else to know.
Oh, absolutely.
So
So
I
here
have
we go.
found that very helpful.
So you go back up here and this
It's
picture
full.
that we were looking at, and there's Terry Bagby who posted it. And let's say I wanted to talk to him. I just hover. I didn't even click. I hover over his name, and then I can send him a message, or I can click on there and be friends with him, which I.
On things like that though, Karen, if I'm not friends with that person, like on that page, I'll say, Terry, I have sent you a private message, and that way they know to look in Messenger, because if you're not friends with them, you're not going to get them to automatically see that you've sent them a message.
That's true. And I was just going to talk about that. So if you send somebody a message, like if you decided you wanted to talk to Terry and send him a message, you would have to do that privately. You would have to publicly tell him, hey, I'm sending you a friend request. If you send, and I've done this many times, if you send me a friend request, I'll send you a pedigree chart. And most of the time people will do that. And then you'll not only be able to make a connection to somebody that you're related to, but you'll also be able to make a new friend, and they might have some of those pictures and interesting tidbits to add for you. Now, remember, or maybe you don't, several months ago, I showed you how to restore pictures and the site that you needed to go to. And so here's a lady on this growing up in Greensburg site, and she posted a picture of her mother. And that's a nice picture. There's nothing wrong with that picture. But let's down here somewhere. So here, this lady posted this picture, and I enhanced and colorized this picture for her. And it's a lot better. And she was so happy. So sometimes you can do things for people that take you. This took me 2 or 3 minutes.
Erin, how do you do that?
You go to myheritage.com. and you can restore and enhance pictures there. They have to be on your hard drive. You saved them on your hard drive, you know where they are, and you just go to myheritage.com and upload the picture. Now you have to be, you have to have an account. It's free if you're a member of the church. So if you're a member of the church, go to the website, go to Family Search website and to the partner sites. And
You know what, though, if that ain't the number, I had it. Bring it with me. It was
and sign up for myheritage.com on Family Search. And then you'll have a free membership to this website. And I just think it's lovely. And you can see, and it really, this enhancement really, really does the faces nice. See how nice the face is? Can you tell from there?
Mhm.
Yeah, that, I didn't know it did it that good.
Oh, yeah, it's great. Now, it partly depends on the picture, you know, if the picture's a decent quality or, you know, depends. You don't always get that kind of picture, but what you do. I really enjoyed working on that. So there you are. And then there's just like a lot of other stuff and that I personally have posted, and I post stuff on here. And this lady just now posted 60 pictures of this family that she's descended from. So, you know, you must be able to find one there if you're related to that family. Now, this group is pretty active. So you can see that there are people posting fairly often on this page. Now, there's another one that this guy, Terry posted, and she's my cousin, and I enhanced that picture too. Let's see if I can find it. There it is. Isn't that lovely?
Mhm.
Shows the detail really good. It's this is a main street in Greensburg. Okay, so that's a lot of fun, and I would really encourage you to go and look somewhere that you've been doing research, or that some of your great grandparents or grandparents or whatever are on or lived at, that you just don't know unless you're working on descendant lines. And I would encourage you to start working on your descendant lines. All right, let's see if I can, there we go. Okay, so we've looked at location, and here again are topical groups. If you were interested in the Civil War in Kentucky, then here's a Facebook group that would show you pictures of people. And also sometimes they're very specific. They'll show you pictures of specific people who were in various regiments. But look at that. It'll show you many, many pictures. Do any of you have Civil War veterans in your line?
Yeah, but no pictures.
No pictures.
No
Okay.
pictures.
Can you repost that site?
I'm sorry.
Can you repost that site so I can take a picture of it and go to it?
It's called the Kentucky Civil War. All right, so lastly, I want to talk about surname groups. And Jim, do you have your own Facebook page for surnames?
No,
So you're looking at other people's surname pages.
yeah, I don't do a lot on I don't do a lot of Facebook genealogy.
Well, that's okay. That's what we're talking about. So maybe I'll encourage you. So here's a surname group, and here's a group called Judd Cousins. And that is a very common name, Judd, back in the Greene County area. And here's people that have posted pictures and information, and wouldn't it be just lovely if that was somebody that you were related to and they posted this picture? And then someone later on posted, there's a newspaper article about this lady who lived to be 100 years old, and she had 12 children. So she had a lot of descendants, and it was really interesting. So I took a picture of this Facebook page and put it on Family Search under this lady, Alpha Judd. And I asked what the newspaper date was, and somebody told me. There it is. And here's a lady who's posted a bunch of the Judd kids, and that when they were born, when they died, and how many children they had.
Wow.
Even if you're not particularly interested in descendant genealogy, these people all need to have their heritage documented. And I have just found that when I put it on Family Search, and I put a picture with it, I can tell people, hey, go look on, and I could send people a link. Go look on Family Search. Here's the link. And it's very exciting to see a picture of their grandma, their great grandma, whatever, there. Of course, they won't see themselves, because if they would have set up an account and everything. So there's just more pictures later down here. Now, I have threatened my children that if they post a picture of this, of me like that I would haunt them. So
She's really mean, you guys.
We know her.
So I don't particularly think this is a great picture, because I feel sorry for this little lady. But look at these other people, and I'm not sure when this picture was taken. Let's say this picture was taken 30 years ago. It's possible that some of these people are deceased, and especially this guy. So, wouldn't it be great if you could take his picture and put it on Family Search? And it's very easy to do that.
Maybe that little lady gave him a talking to, and he got over the other side for taking that picture.
Well, you can expect that if you do it of me. So here is a picture that she's asking for. Who are these little children, I think. Oh, she's just saying some people recognize them. So she's identifying them. What if that was your great grandma and these were your aunts and uncles or whatever? Wouldn't that be fun to see them as little children and see the car that they drove? And they were, this area that I do research in, they're farmers. So here, that's probably how he dressed everything. That may have been Sunday dinner. That may have been some sort of family reunion, but he wore his overalls.
Got a whole family living.
And look at that. Is that a way cool picture? And that's a real person. I mean, that's this is Paul Judd. Now, right off the top of my head, I don't remember his name, but I know his name and I put this picture on Family Search too. How lovely would that be if you, even if it was your great uncle or your, whatever, that would be great to have that. I think that's about all I have. We can talk about other websites or Facebook sites, or Jim, maybe you would like to talk about the one that you've gotten some information out of.
Now, like I say, I don't do a lot of genealogy on Facebook. Yeah, I've stolen a few, uploaded a few, gotten a few pictures and put on Family Search. But I was just going to make a comment. It's a lot of places, and help me out with this one, wifey. They have the Facebook pages, you're from such and such place when.
Oh, you mean like you're from Brazil, Indiana?
Yeah, there's one for Mosier Valley Cemetery. I think it's, you're from Mosier Valley. If there's one for my hometown, and those,
Well,
you may want to look for those on Facebook.
the ones I just showed you, not this Judd Cousins, but the one before, was called Growing Up in Greene County in Greensburg. So you might want
Yeah.
to look for Growing Up in Brazil, Indiana. There might be one of those, because they have a lot of those growing up websites.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's about all I have. Shirley, is there something you'd like to say?
I'd like to share something.
Yes, please do.
I have discovered lately that if you can think of it, you'll find it on Facebook. And I found, I don't know, about 7 or 8 years ago, I was born in McDowell County, West Virginia. Well, they have a McDowell County genealogy Facebook page. There's a West Virginia genealogy Facebook page. There's a cemetery down near Belton that one of my ancestors is buried in. And I found out that they have a Facebook page for that gravesite. And so if you go out on Facebook, just take a stab and try something, you'd be surprised what you'll find. And I told the story here recently that
Sure.
that I had gone to Virginia and West Virginia with my mother, and I was trying to find some genealogy, and a lady mailed me some pictures of a lady named Minda Witt, and my grandmother's name was Witt, but nobody knew who this person was. It just said Aunt Minda on the back of them.
Mhm.
And I checked with my mother, and she had never heard of her, and I checked with other people. No one knew her. So I stuck them on my file cabinet for 30 years. And then one day I thought, I wonder if I post these out on McDowell County genealogy on Facebook, because someone to know who it is. And they posted her marriage license, they posted her birth certificate and all kind. And I found out it was my mother's aunt, and my mother never. So there's a lot of things on Facebook that you can get.
So
And
did
then
you
I
put that
tell you-
picture on Family Search?
Yes, I have. And I got really upset with myself today, because yesterday I was somewhere and I was passing some time on my phone waiting for a doctor appointment. And someone had posted 140 some pictures of, I don't remember the site, but it was, I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the Battle of Woluski. It's a Civil War battle in Florida. And it was the Union Army's third bloodiest defeat. And my great grandfather fought in that battle on the southern side. Anyway, I started thumbing through these pictures, and someone had colorized them. And I recognized 4 or 5 pictures that were better than the ones I have. And I thought, man, tomorrow I got to get back on Facebook and find it. And I can't find it. It's like anything. You can find something on Facebook, get out and go back, and it won't be there.
That's true.
Aaron?
Yeah.
Why don't you show how to, say, find a Facebook page? Well, I mentioned Mosier Valley. How would you find a Facebook page on Mosier Valley?
Is that a city?
No, that's the cemetery. Well, it was a place, but now it's a cemetery. You know, it's here just in Euless. But
It's a
why
freedom
don't you
colony.
do a search? Show us how to do
Well,
a search for
I
that.
would probably, okay, I can do that, but I would probably just Google it. And once
No,
I,
no, Facebook,
I know,
Facebook.
I know, but it's easier to get results and the ones you want out of Google than the Facebook search engine is not nearly as good as the Google search engine.
Well, but to show
just
how to
gotta-
find a Facebook web of a
All right.
Facebook page.
You
All
just
right.
gotta hit the right name. There's cemetery.
Try just Mosier Valley,
It was a freedom community.
Freedom Colony. Yeah, you know you're from Mosier Valley when? Yeah, and you know, that's how you do a search for something.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to do these searches on Facebook. But like if you were looking for a specific person, it's really hard sometimes to find them because everybody changes their name when the women change their name when they get married. And once they get married, you don't know where their name takes the direction at that point, because if they married several times or if their husband dies or they go back to their old name, it's very hard. So
Yeah.
sometimes these searches on Facebook are not as good as going to Google and finding there's a site on Google called on the web called Finding Living People. And so you can type that in, you type in the name and a general location, and sometimes it will give you a town or a city, and you can find that person and find other people that are living with them. And if they sound familiar, then you go search on Facebook and look for all of those people, each one of those individuals, until you find the one you're looking for. And then you can ask them about their grandmother, who was your grandmother's sister. So it works out really well.
I've never had any luck looking for people on Facebook, but I have for groups. Like,
Well, looking for people on Facebook, you have to have their exact specific
Yeah.
name that they're using on Facebook. So
Right.
you won't ever find my son Drew Jorgensen on Facebook because his name is Drew Jorgelbaum on Facebook. And so how are you going to know that Drew Jorgelbaum, unless you knew Drew, is Drew Jorgensen, you know? So I'm not saying it's really easy to find individual people, but I've done it many, many times. Anything else? Any other questions? How about you, Jim? Anything else you'd like to?
No, that was interesting though. Quite interesting.
John?
I agree. It was quite interesting. Karen,
You know, I think maybe
I'm
I'll
not
just make
making
you a
any-
Facebook page.
I'm
Maybe
not
I'll just-
making any promises, but it was quite interesting.
Okay, I'm glad you liked it.
Very interesting. It makes me want to go and try it. So
Well, I think you should. I've had
Oh.
tremendous success doing that.